Hey everybody, and welcome to Old School Meets New School. Today you have just me, Nicholas Side, and it is one of my favorite days. It is Valentine's Day today. And I want to take the time, I get a lot of questions as a consultant, that's what I do during the day, and a lot of times during this time of year, during June, and during a lot of holidays, I get a lot of questions of what should I do for my significant other? And so I wanted to take the time to create a little list for every single one of you to go and be able to use on Valentine's Day. But not just Valentine's Day, any major holiday that you celebrate with your significant other, whether it's, even anniversary, a birthday, which is small changes, of course, with birthdays, but Valentine's Day, even things like Christmas, you can do this on any day where you want to show your significant other something special. And what am I going to use doing this on? The big Minecraft green screen. I want to be able to show you guys all the information we have and kind of give you guys a real full look at what's going on. So basically I created a list. This is not an all-exclusive. There's other things, but I just want to give a broad overview that kind of encompasses all some of the key questions that I get, especially surrounding Valentine's Day. These 4 items are meant to be able to be things where there's a variety of costs, whether you can go to the extreme, which they'll be expensive, or you can do things quite easily and almost potentially do these free. So each of these items are going to be big things to help you show your significant other exactly how you feel. So number 4, role reversal. So this category, this kind of setup that I have is basically being able to demonstrate that you understand what the other person's doing for you on a daily basis. What do they contribute to the relationship? So, a lot of times I tell people there's a lot of different ways to express this. One of the big ones is things like even like cleaning. Say, for instance, your significant other is normally the one who cleans or is OCD about where everything is. Well, while they're away, while they're at work, while they're asleep, do them a big favor and dust, clean, get things organized, put things away. Make it so that they can see that you understand the work that they're doing and what they do day in and day out for you, and allow them to go and have that little bit of free time so that way you guys can be together a little bit more. It shows that, you understand what's going on and you want to help them. The same thing with a lot of other jobs. Say, for instance, if they're normally the ones who go shopping, do the grocery shopping for them. Any job can be role reversed. So cooking, cleaning, shopping, even if you have kids, married couples, a lot of times I say, usually your significant other is the one who wakes up and feeds the kids, does things like that. Well, maybe this time you say, you know what, you stay in bed. I'll feed the kids, I'll get the breakfast ready, I'll get them all ready for the day. Do things to show them that you understand how much they do every single day of the week and that you do appreciate all the hard work that they do. So number 3, this is cook a nice meal. This is a simple one. There's basically, I put this as cook a nice meal overall, but realistically it's a nice meal. A few things with this that I kind of want to hit on, and these are big items that I think a lot of couples, they don't always understand, is that a lot of people come to me and they say, well, I want to do a cheap alternative to going out to a 5-star restaurant. Going to a grocery store and buying something that is somewhat pre-set up for you, pre-marinated meats, pre-cut up and pre-seasoned, like mashed potatoes or even potato wedges, these types of things that you still have to take your time and cook the items, but they're self-explanatory. Set the oven at 350, put them in the oven for 45 minutes. All these things are things that realistically you can do. Whether you're an expert cook or you're a novice and have no idea what temperature or how long to cook, what temperature to cook meat at, you could still do these things. The other alternative too is if you are social butterflies, is to bring her out. But there's a lot of alternatives. You can make things more romantic. You can turn something that's small and cozy. I do tell people one of the number one things with this piece is that I do tell people a lot, watch out for making these types of events and these types of holidays, things like your anniversary, your exclusive date nights of the year. Realistically, you don't want Valentine's Day and your anniversary to be your only date nights. And to be honest, they shouldn't be even considered date nights. They should be considered events that are special for the two of you to enjoy with yourself, your other loved ones, potentially your kids, things of that nature. You don't want this to be just a simple, this is our night that we get out of the house. If necessary, turn a Thursday, a random Monday, find a babysitter, turn a random day into your date nights. Allow this to be a real special occasion where you can embrace where your relationship's at, where you two are at, and how you feel for one another. So basically, that's why I tell people, you don't always need to go out. You don't always need to, you go to a nice restaurant. The issue is you're going to be surrounded by a lot of other people who are doing the exact same thing. And to be honest, that a lot of times takes away from the romance of the whole aspect of having a nice, intimate dinner. When you don't have that ability, when you're cluttered, you're cramped, you have a lot of people talking all around you. One of the nicer things is to go and make a nice home-cooked meal. Maybe pick out your significant other's favorite movie or a nice romantic movie that person's been wanting to watch. Go and make it so that it's a whole entire night in, where there's relaxing. Potentially rub your significant other's feet back during the movie, right after dinner. Turn it into an event that you can really enjoy and be with one another. These are things, too, that you could potentially do even with your kids, where you can go and allow everybody to see that you can embrace the idea of everything that is at the aspect of your relationship. Valentine's Day is supposed to be the idea of looking at the love you have for one another, and that does include people like your kids, your family, and all the people that you surround you every single day. So don't look at it as a situation where it's just a simple date night. Turn it into an event, and you can easily do that at home. So number two, that brings us into one of the big ones, is that connect with the past. I call it this category because I do work usually a lot of times with Valentine's Day. I work with a lot of people who are established couples. I also do a lot of couple counseling as a romance consultant, where I work with people who have been together for a long time. But I also tell people, because I do work with younger people or potentially people who are single looking to get into the dating world, one of the things I say with this is that it's not just connecting with the past. It also can be relaying what you want in the future. So that's basically the whole ultimate category here. And there's a few key things with this category. One is you want to be able to express why we are in love. What created this love? Just like we as people and civilization are kind of created by our past. And we create rules, regulations. We have the way that we structure our civilization based on reactions on what happened in the past. It's the same thing with your relationship. Those simple moments, it can be anything from a simple moment of on your first date, you went out to go bowling. And then it could be a situation where he dragged you out tango dancing. All these things are situations where you can go and really create a moment for each other. Whether it's a situation where you reminisce and you turn on a song and you just dance and you really hold into what's going on with each other. You really enjoy what each other's doing day in and day out. These are easy things. This can be a very cheap thing. Write a note like, hey, listen, you know what? I was just thinking about how 10 years ago, or I was thinking about last week when we did this. These are things that make it so that you remember where you guys came from and exactly how you fell in love. The other thing, too, is that this is the other half of it. If you are a younger couple, connect this with things to come. One of the number one questions a lot of couples get into around the 6 to a year and a half mark is, where are things going? This is a great way of going and being able to kind of easily give a little bit of an answer and a hint to where you see things going. And ultimately, this is both for a male and a female. So if you see things where, you know what, I could potentially marry this woman, I could have kids, go and make it so you can stabilize the idea that you can see things in the future. You can see things with the idea of talking about houses. You can see things with talking about going on a trip 5 years from now. If you don't want to go and sit there and say, well, Monday we're going to the movies. You want to go and be able to, if you're going to use this idea, of course, you're going to want to go and put it as the idea where there's ideas and connections with the idea of potentially going on a trip in 5 years. Imagine if her favorite place and she's always wanted to go to Hawaii. So you get her something that embraces that idea, that you listened and you heard, and that you're hoping to go with her to that location sometime in the future. It shows that you listen, that you're heartfelt, and that you're expecting to be going further into the relationship than where you are today. These are all ways of going showing how much you care and how much you appreciate that person. The final piece of this, and it's more connected with the past, is connect it with something that you've heard or that that person has said. One of the number one things that's an ongoing joke is men never listen. They're always sitting there and they're always in la la land. Every time I talk, they're not really listening to me. Men, it's time for us to be able to figure out a way to prove that theory wrong. And this is the easiest way to do it. It's not hard at all. All you have to do is go and listen to certain cues, hear certain things she likes, a picture, an idea, a concept. It can be all sorts of stuff. She could say that she's always wanted to go ice skating, and she keeps forgetting, and you guys keep not. Then you get her tickets, like 4 months later, to go ice skating. It's a simple thing that shows, you know what, I listen. You almost want it so that the person who you're going to be giving the gift to almost forgets that conversation themselves. That way you're bringing it up, you're sparking that idea, and you're having what's going on as part of your conversation. So you want to be able to go and spark, and when you're creating this gift, say, does this demonstrate that I listen to what she says or he says, and do I listen and kind of understand where that person's emotions are? That's a big one, and let me tell you, you'll get a lot of brownie points with that. Number one is kind of a big one for especially people who are looking for something that potentially will help them through the ups and downs of a relationship. I want everybody to understand that a real relationship and a healthy relationship isn't based upon that idea of everything is just great or everything is monotone and consistent. There should be highs and lows. You'll have points where you argue, and you know what? Those little quirks potentially are getting a little bit tough, but then ultimately you rebound and you find the love and the joy. These traditions allow you to reconnect it with it. What basically these rituals and traditions should be is something small. It can even be potentially something cheesy, something that is not highly specific to a certain event, but to you guys as a couple. So what I mean by that is you shouldn't have a ritual that every year at 12 o'clock on Valentine's Day you kiss at the top of the Empire State Building. It's a tradition that's going to be tough eventually. There's a chance that when you have kids, when you have events, when life gets to a situation, you potentially might not be able to accomplish that. You want something that is easygoing, and potentially, even if it's a situation where every year you give her one extra rose. So you start with one, then you go to two, then you go to three. It can also be things like you write a note simply stating two things that you really care about or you appreciate about each other. These are all things that in reality set a tone. I do have a few pieces that I want to make sure that I give as advice towards this. First off, traditions and or rituals, they are connectors. It's neurolinguistic programming, basically. You're basically linking somebody's mind to previous memories. You want those memories to be good. What does this mean? If for some reason you're planning on creating a tradition or ritual and that day isn't good, it doesn't go well, she gets into a car accident, he gets fired, you guess what? You got to scrap the tradition. Even if you've already accomplished it, you're going to have to next year figure out a different thing you can do. Because what's going to end up happening is 10 years from now, that memory, that thought process could potentially link to something that's negative. And you don't want that, especially if it's supposed to be a couple/love/romantic tradition. You want it to be connected to something you guys really care about, you really enjoy, and it brings happiness to both of you, and the smile to both of your guys' faces. So make sure that it's relating to a good memory and a good day. The other thing too is that it needs to be something that can be easily done. This relates to my previous statement. One of the cutest things, and I met this one older couple, and they had this tradition that on their third or fourth date, I forget exactly which one it was, they went, and on Valentine's Day they ended up going dancing, and they danced this one song, and there was all this cute stuff. They were telling us about it, and they said every single year that's what they do. They play this one specific song and they dance. Well, unfortunately, he was not able to be there due to business one year. So what did he do? He went and he called her up, he played the song, and he actually danced somewhat with her on the phone, but while they played the song, creating, some people might say, well, that's cheesy, well, that's stupid, it's not really the same thing, but you know what? In their minds it was. They were embracing that tradition, they were embracing their love and their romance, and it was bringing a smile to their face. And to be honest, it was probably more so a bigger thing for her, because it shows how much he cares about her and how no matter what, he wants to embrace who they are. Doing these things will allow your significant other to really feel that and see that on a daily basis. And with this, it can be anything. Like I said, it can be gifts, it can be all sorts of stuff. One other final thing that I do bring up, and it kind of relates to the same thing as a date night and how you don't want to connect it to these special occasions, is the other thing too is intimate relations. Number one thing that I get a lot of questions about, especially on Valentine's Day, anniversaries, and all these types of holidays, is that people go and say, well, it seems to be a situation where I give jewelry, and then basically I don't really expect anything, but we're probably gonna have sex. That's gonna be my intimate relation with her for that week. And that's not, I tell people, that's actually a stemming of something that's probably a little less healthy than what you guys really believe. Now, I'm not necessarily stating that everybody needs to have sex every single day, but it should be a situation where, to be honest, the reason, and this is more for ladies, the reason why, ladies, men don't see it as such a romantic holiday, or they don't connect it, is because they feel obligated to do something for something. Because what's happening is that we are going, and men, of course, you guys should be going and doing extra throughout the rest of the year. There should be moments where you have spur. Every single one of these items on the list you can do any day of the week. That's the great part. They're great for, say, Valentine's Day or something like that, but they're also something you can do a spur of the moment on a Tuesday. And you should do these things on a Tuesday. You should do these things on a random Friday for your significant other. But the biggest thing is we don't want to go and make it so that we feel that everything on a special holiday, a special event, a special situation in our lives, we don't want to feel that it's a cause and effect. I give jewelry, I give a gift, I get sex. Because what ends up happening is that the sex becomes just simply an obligation, and it doesn't become an act of passion. You want it to feel spontaneous, and to be honest, if it feels like a cause and effect, it feels less like that. And even though the male is going to be physically gratified, there's actually going to be less of an emotional connection with that, meaning that you'll have less and less romance and substance behind every single year going forward. So these are just some of my ideas. This is a quick, I guess, serious note from the old school meets new school team, and I just want to throw it out there because I get a lot of questions, and I guess it's a little bit of free advice out there for the world. Please let me know what you do for your significant other. I really want to hear what you guys do, what maybe little traditions you have. And also too, please like us, send me comments, click like, subscribe to our channel at Old School Meets New School. All you gotta do is drop the E's in the word meets and you find us. Also too, check us out on Twitch. We do play video games every Tuesday and Thursday. at NT User 1, 2, and 3. So from the whole Old School Meets New School team, myself, Nicholas Side, and Allie Snoopy, we want to wish you guys a happy Valentine's Day.